I've come for an early morning cycle out to Taolin Park Phase 2. Behind me there, the office tower by AECOM. It's 1111 Yuanshanlu, an office R&D centre. The park, though, is an extension of an existing community park, but it's got a lot more features to enable nature-based play and discovery. So behind me here, some stepping stones across a retention pond as part of the Spun City or stormwater management strategy is, embedded in this park. I'm sat on these stepping stone rocks across the retention pond, and this is designed for kids to come into contact with nature. It's really for pond dipping, discovering tadpoles and the life below water in a safe, shallow water body. Amazingly, I've just seen some baby fish in this pond. How did they get here? This is rainwater runoff from the park. Well, when egrets or herons, wading birds maybe fly and land here on their feet, they may bring strands of weed from other water bodies, and those weeds might contain fish eggs. And once you land back into a new system, you create a new ecology, and that's what I love about nature. Like many of my projects, the initial stages of design are based around grading, drainage and the earthworks. Cut and fill balance to create stormwater regimes to enable rainwater to collect into retention areas, balancing the water strategies for the whole site. You can see behind me that there are bioswales just leading water into the retention pond. So when the stormwater in the park gets too high and the retention pond is full, this area is an overflow so that the retained water gets to its maximum capacity and then it overflows out back to the municipal system. But the point is retention, holding the water for longer on site so that you don't put that pressure onto the stormwater drainage. And that's what Spun City is all about. It's about retaining that water for as long as possible to alleviate the pressure on the waterways in particularly in cities like Shanghai, which are flat. One thing about rain gardens is it doesn't have a lining. So of course when there isn't rain, it dries out. But that's the point, because we want it to infiltrate into the ground, replenish the groundwater reserves. Some people will say, but I want the pond to look good all year round. Well, you can line it and you can hold water longer, but then you won't get that infiltration. So Spun Cities is that concept of holding that water and drawing it down, replenishing groundwater and protecting the city from flooding by holding water on sites like these where the economic damage is minimized. This rock behind me I had placed exactly in that location with a footrest so that I could come here and sit and enjoy the view of the pond and the building. That's a little designer's quirk. Over the back in Taolin Park Phase 1 there was a metasequoia forest edge, and I wanted to extend that into the park and put a big landform buffer at the back. And of course landform creates runoff, so the runoff here comes underneath this bridge through the swale and down to the retention pond. Behind me in the distance there are the new KPF towers. They actually were placed on an area of really beautiful ecological wetland and woodland. They destroyed it completely, so I felt so angered about that this park is about mitigation. It's putting back what was lost by those three towers. It's been raining for the last few days in Shanghai constantly, and the swales are full of water. This water will infiltrate slowly and gradually work its way down to the retention pond. If you're not sure about swales, they're simple really. Shallow, wide, gentle gradients, enabling water to be purified using vegetation, allowing for infiltration and gentle conveyance of stormwater down to the lowest area, which in this case is a retention pond. I mentioned a couple of years ago in a post about this tree and selecting it so that the low horizontal branches would be just great for young children to sit on and, have that experience of climbing a tree in the local park.